Welcome everybody, this is another video. Sorry it's been a bit of a wait, but well, you know, life and things like that. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about a fantastic new app. Well, new app, it's been around for a little while, but it's definitely taking the podcast world by storm, and that is Goodpods. Now, if you haven't heard of Goodpods and you either create podcasts or you listen to podcasts, then this is going to be a very interesting video for you, because this is probably one of the most in-depth podcast apps that I've come across. I mean, there are many of them, and I'll do reviews on all of those as well. But this one with Goodpods, it has a lot of features that I think people will love, and I've certainly started using it for my podcasts, and it is really in depth. There's lots of things that you can do on here that you can't do in other particular podcast apps and things like that. So let me dive straight into it anyway. So this is the page that you get to when you log in. Obviously I've already logged into mine, and at the bottom you can see it's got feed, library, search, alerts, profile. And my profile, this is my profile I've got on here because I've got a couple of podcasts that I listen to, and also a couple of podcasts that I produce as well. So on here, if you are a podcast creator, then this is a good place for you to come to. You just simply come on here, you claim your podcast, which is a very simple thing to do, and then you get your own profile. And here you can follow people, you have people following you back. There's a tip jar, which you can see there in the middle of the yellow button. So if you link it to a PayPal account, then people can send you tips on here if they love you. And by tips I mean money, not, here's ways to improve your podcast. This is so they can click on that and send you a tip if they think you've got a really good show. And also on here, it has all of the podcasts beneath this that you listen to. So these are the ones that I listen to: Chromecast, obviously, Palace's Core is one of my podcasts, and various other things. So this is great for creators, because you can do all of this, and you have a great place to put all of your different podcasts on here. You can have as many podcasts on here as you want, and if you've got many podcasts, but also you can find fantastic podcasts as well. So if I go to my feed, you'll see this is the list of podcasts that I currently follow. So when I follow a podcast, it will come up on my newsfeed. So you got here, for example, you got 20 minutes and things like that. So, and also when a new podcast comes on, they will email you and say there's a new episode of this podcast that you're following, so then you can get to listen to it as soon as you want to. And that's basically what your feed is. It's like a Twitter feed. You follow people on Twitter and then you see things that they post. Same thing with this, but with podcasts. So when you follow a podcast, anytime they talk about their podcast or they put a new episode up, it will come into your feed, which is absolutely fantastic. And so you can scroll down, and you have here at the middle Goodpods team picks. So these are podcasts that are picked for you by Goodpods that they think you might like based on your listening history. And if I go back up to here, it gives you people that they think you should follow, people that are good podcasters or creators and things like that. And this is the way it works. It's really simple. You've got a simple search feature as well, which I've got in the middle here. So it will say just for you, which again, ones that it recommends that you follow if you're into that type of thing, or ones that you've looked at before. You have a features list, which is a collection of particular types of podcasts, particular genres. You have Goodpods top 100 shows. If I view all of that, this is, on Goodpods anyway, the top 100 shows that have been listened to this week. And so you can see that they've got all of the popular shows on here that they get a lot of listens for. And these are all types of podcasts. You're talking about independent podcasts or indie podcasts, as well as big companies. But if you want to, I've got it clicked on indie only, so these are only independent podcasts. But if I turn that off, you then get all podcasts that are on Goodpods, whether they're independent or whether they're from a major company. So obviously you've got the New York Times here at number 4 with the Daily and things like that. So you can tailor it down to whatever you want to do. You can also do other things. You can search for shows by category, which is a great way of doing it. If you love certain things like comedy or education, fiction, or the very popular true crime, then you can go along to that. Let's see if I can find true crime here. Yep, there you go. Find true crime, hit on that, and there you go. It gives you a list of the top true crime ones. Again, these are all podcasts, and you can also filter it down to independent ones if you fancy listening to an independent podcast. And this is a list of the top true crime podcast. So there's lots of things to do on here. And also, if I go into, for example, this first one here, this is an episode from a mental health podcast, and so you can play it directly from the app, which is fantastic. You can also bookmark it so that if you want to come back to it later, you can. You can also rate it. So the stars here, you can touch 1 to 5 stars, whatever you think it is, and you can write a review on there as well. I know from experience, podcasters love getting reviews from listeners. You know, they absolutely love them. So if you are the sort of person that likes to give reviews, this is a great app to do it, because you can do it on individual episodes. You don't have to do it on the whole podcast. If you love a particular episode, you can tell them, and it gives them a lot of great feedback that they can then use to better themselves in the podcast. Or if they're already getting good reviews, then it makes them feel better about the work that they're doing. And they've got a library here, which is basically a list of all the stuff that you've listened to. It puts it all in one place for you there. Alerts, this is where it tells you your latest episodes you've got coming up, latest group activities, so you can follow a particular group that deal with a particular type of podcast. They have groups set up, and then you can follow those. If you're a creator, that's great to get involved with other podcasters in a similar group. And this is just it. It's a very feature-rich app that does a lot of good for podcasters, especially independent podcasters. And also, if you're listening to podcasts, or you're a consumer, I should say, of podcasts, then you're going to find almost every show here. And say there's so many different features that it's absolutely fantastic. You can comment on things like this as well. You know, the ability to comment on podcasts and podcasters is something that a lot of apps don't have. And so this is a great feature that it allows you to interact with your favorite podcasters, and they can interact with you as well, which I know a lot of podcasters really love that idea. So this is it. This is Goodpods, and I think it's really great. And it's not sponsoring the show or anything like that. I'm not doing that, but it is a great app, and I recommend that you give it a listen and give it a try out. It's available on the Play Store on Google, and it's available on the Apple Store as well. So it's on both those platforms. So I'd give it a chance. I'd give it a chance if I was you. Download it and see what you think. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining me today. I do hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you want me to review more podcast apps, then just leave me a comment down below, and I'll be able to give that to you. And I'll try and leave a link, if I remember, to the app on both the Play Store and the Apple Store in the link to the description on this video, I should say. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed the show, and until next time, bye bye.